was, the thing is, the national economy tanks, I don't think it'll affect us much here.
It never has.
Yeah.
Except with the federal banking rates and things like that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we've been pretty recession, quite honest.
Yeah. Pretty good, man. Pretty nice. There's more engineering fees. What the heck? I thought you already did all that.
Are you there? Yep, I can hear you.
Good.
Can you hear me? Good. I think I got it on as loud as it'll go, so. Good luck with
$40
hearing.
for flowers. Jeez.
Right. As it is 6:01 on June 10th, 2025, we'll call this Hermosa Town Board regular meeting to order. Roll call. Kramer's here, Ferguson here. Coots,
Here.
Harris. Here. Service.
Here.
All right, very good. Thank you all for coming tonight. Nice to see you all. And Kent, thank you. I think we'll be getting Anthony here in a little while. Who knows who else? And let's go ahead and stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And there's Anthony.
Oh, he is.
Let's handle it. Call for changes. We do have to take off 14. Is it?
Yeah, it's a duplicate.
Yeah. And we got that duplicate, so 14 to be just got scratched out. And is there any other changes?
Add discussion.
Got scratched out. Oh, good. Hey, that's what you were talking about. 14B.
Oh, yeah, but there's two of them. It's also under Anthony.
Oh. Well, we could get two of them. I wouldn't mind.
You two road grants?
All right. And I think, oh, hello, Laura. And Deb's coming in here. I think we'll just put that under town updates.
Okay.
40.9 town updates. Oh, a speeding issue. Any other changes from anybody else? Aaron?
Couple town updates.
A couple of town updates, okay? No, so, all right, very good. Approval of May 20th, 25.
We need a motion for.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Okay. Accept the agenda, motion.
Make that motion.
Donna, thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Seconds that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried, thank you. So the consent calendar approval of the May 20th and May 29th special meeting minutes. Does anybody have any comments?
So on the May 29th meeting minutes, the heading says regular meeting, it should say special meeting.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Cal, you had something?
I was just gonna make a motion to accept the minutes with the update that Terry just mentioned.
Okay. Motion's been made. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Aaron seconds. Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Shanna? Aye. Thank you. Yep, I understand. Okay, please declare if you have a conflict of interest on any of the items. 5 is town and FEMA updates. First, we'll go with the FEMA updates. Do you have some?
I'm gonna give you a copy of the timeline because with your date changes and meetings, it has changed. And it took way longer to get it back from the engineer, the request for proposals and shit anticipated. And she changed shit to me. So if you would just, look over those dates, and I mean, we still have time to change anything that you like. Just basically from now until the, notice of award is putting everything out another 2 weeks. I think this is the probably third time.
I'm okay, everybody else? Okay? Okay, that's it? Okay, thank you, Joan. Another town update, I've had a phone call about, horrific speeding down on Fairgrounds Place Road. And I was asked if we did have any speed bumps left.
I want one right in front of my house.
And, Chuck's not here to ask him. I think there's a couple down there, but I will go look.
Also, and I came up tonight, I think we need a couple signs that said children at play. Cause they're playing, put up just for when the baseball games are going on. Because that one, do a baseball, the other one, and he missed it. Thank God the kid didn't go, I was watching the whole thing, and, I said, you know, and I thought that's what we need, but also last month. What's the date? What's the day? Monday night.
Tuesday.
Yeah. Anyway, Monday night, we had these two little racers up and down the street. And I went out and stopped them and I said, how old are you? 5. I said, do you realize you aren't supposed to be running these on streets? And he looked at me like,
What was he on?
a little two-wheeler, motorized two-wheeler.
He was having fun.
Yeah, he was,
5-year-old.
but he was going so fast. I said, you know, as fast as cars come down here, if they, you know, I said, I don't want you to get hurt. It is my biggest concern. And then, well, then they slowed down, but they kept going around and around. You heard them, didn't you, Cal? Round and around.
Oh, I was trying to race somebody to beat me.
So, but I don't know how old the other one, but I know who the parents are, you know. So, but I think, you know, that needs to be addressed too.
Those kind of discussions will be nice when we have our own officer. That will be very
Yeah,
helpful
because
for that.
you know, I mean, the way that people go in and out on Ferguson Street is scary.
Great. Thank you for that. I think we need to find out, definitely how many speed bumps we have left, if we have any left. I think there's a couple, isn't there? Do you know?
They're down in by the pump house.
Yeah.
I don't know what's down there. I haven't been down there.
Okay,
I don't know now. It's very-
but if we have 2 down there, how does the board feel about putting them on Fairgrounds Place Road for the summer? Is everybody okay with that?
Yeah, but
So can it impact Rob?
there's other streets too that need to be issued, you know, especially the one going past the ballpark.
And the signs would be good for that. And we'll see if we have any signs. If not,
You know, even if we just put them up when the ball game's going, you know, because. Yeah.
That'd be a lot of work to take them up and down.
Up and down.
Just think much.
Yeah. Well, the problem with that, when they're up all the time, people just don't even see it anymore, you know? That's the hard part about that, but we'll have to,
Maybe we had one of those yellow Man, flag or something.
Yeah, we will look into that. Connie?
I'm sure they're gonna have to wait until the guys at the lagoon fix the road
That's what I said.
before they put those down.
The speed bumps.
Yeah.
Well, he's right here. We can ask him if that's gonna impact him.
Will it be very difficult for you guys having those speed bumps down on that road? Won't be the same.
Going to the night.
No. All right, thank you. All right, Aaron, go for it.
Oh, okay. So I was invited to a meeting earlier this week with some members of Connects and rep from the Governor's Office on Economic Development. And it was pretty cool. Kind of came to a conclusion. I'm going to be wanting to present the establishment of an Economic Development Committee. Subcommittee. And kind of the way, I mean, I'll hash it out in a resolution and the establishment and the organization. But Connects and the area development group have been going on for about 3 years now, and they've pretty much well established themselves. And it just kind of feels like they could use an interface with the town board. Kind of feels like we're ready for that now. So it would be, the committee would essentially be an ambassador to that organization and any commercial enterprise in town.
Okay.
So I'll hash out the details on that and probably bring that to next meeting.
Very good, thank you.
So there was something else, but I guess I'll have to try to remember it by trustee.
Okay. Very good.
Oh, I think as we're going to be moving into the new board, I think things have been a lot better recently. But I feel like it wouldn't hurt for us to have a discussion about things like Robert's rules and how we're going to handle those sorts of things moving forward. To give ourselves and the citizens a very clear picture of how the meetings are going to go. And there are some things in Robert's rules that aren't necessarily ideal for us. So, but if we're going to have those exceptions, I think we need to write them down, clear them up, and have them in a policy so that we know this is how we want to organize and run our meetings, because
Okay.
I think that would help.
I think that would be a good thing for a work session. Myself.
Agreed.
And we'll discuss that after we get through the rest of the meeting. Better part of the meeting. Okay. Anything else?
No.
That was your memory? That was it? Or was there something else?
Oh, I wanted to. I think I can do it under streets. I think I'm good.
Okay, very good. Thank you. That brings us to engineer, Mr. Anthony.
So, take some care of some housekeeping first. We've got a pay application for the lagoon. In the amount of $69,462.09. Part of his original contract. It's just work that he's completed to date. And the rain events he had to contend with. But I think he got
Motion for
part of the
approval.
duty. Yeah, motion to approve that.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Jana makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second,
Al seconds that. What was the total? 66.
$9,462.09.
so on 6A, it's like right in the middle.
I just get it now, I thought that we should put it in.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, B?
B, is, it says review and approve a proposal, but it's actually a budget because there'll be a proposal from a contractor and then there's engineering and DOT permitting that's involved. So that's to approve a budget of 80,000 out of the budget out of the amount that we're holding for the Prestons for their development in order to extend, improve the road coming into the development 250 feet from the DOT right away in, because we're gonna be having contractors coming in for that water tank and for the well. And we need to kind of get that all secured so it's not all busted up when we're rutted up when we're trying to do the work. It also will help, it's a part of the project, and it's our easement that we share with the development. So I think it's all money well spent, and John Preston told me to leave this on there and go ahead with it. It's just a budget, so it's a not to exceed amount. I'll try to get a really good price from a contractor to do that. And first thing I'll do is I'll send some sketches to Bruce at DOT to see whatever permitting we need to improve that approach.
Yes.
So.
Okay. All right. So we just need to approve you to do.
Yeah, it's a budget not to exceed of 80,000.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Aaron makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Yeah. Motion seconded. Any questions or comments on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
I'll get with
Shannon?
Terry.
Thank you.
I'll get with Terry on that because I don't know, is that in a CD?
It's in the CD, it's a 1-year CD, which doesn't mature till like later this year.
Later this year. So we'll have to see how that all plays out, but at least we can get everything approved. Okay.
C.
C is work authorization for on-call building official. This is recycled from the previous agenda, so I don't know if that's something you guys want to do or not. But it would be putting budget back into the building officials on-call, which is just something, it's still there. And we only use it if we need it for T&M, but we do know that we're going to be having water main and sewer upgrades happening between Manning and Whitney. So it'd probably be good to up that budget to take care of that. So we'll just do a T&M.
Okay. Aaron?
I'll make a motion to approve
Okay.
the adjustment to the on-call building official budget. An additional
2176.
76.
Aaron makes that and Donna seconds it. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, I'll ask the question at a different time. Yeah.
All right, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
So, D, E, and F are kind of all when we can knock out because they're all change orders.
Okay.
The board previously approved those 3 change orders, and then they went to DANR. DANR reviewed them from the state revolving fund standpoint and indicated that anything that's a bid item, that doesn't count towards our new items. And we have a cap, 10% on new items. So with working with the contractor under that premise, I said we need to put a spreadsheet together and have these so that they're in the bid items and the bid schedule from your original bid and send them back to DANR. And whatever, if, as much as possible that can be in the bid items doesn't take away from our 10% contingency. He actually came back with all 3 change orders at a reduced amount for each one. And I had a summary there. Did you put the summary by chance?
What I put with the evening.
Not, I can look it up on the phone.
Change order.
It's not this, is it?
No, with the,
I just have the change order for this.
what I should do is, 1 second. Maybe I will do 3 agenda items at once. So. Okay. I have a son right there. Anyway, change order 5 is the trough. And that's new dollar amount, 88. Yeah, that's it. So when we reviewed all those bid items, and the way you can read this table, just so you know, is at the table right here. It's got some numbers on the left, on the right side. Basically, when he puts those additional bid items in there, then the original bid of 837,419 on the bottom is there's another 74,090.50 plus those items that are off to the right, off of the table, which are calculated percentages. So you add those three plus the 74, you get the total change order. So that's how we did it, because the top 4 items are percentages. Well, top 3 anyways are percentages of others.
Okay.
So that way everything stayed consistent with his original bid. What that did is it turned change order 5 from 124,545 down to 88,246.47.
Nice, okay.
If you carry on with the same logic, change order 6 was the out of sequence construction detention basin. That one had the only additional items because it was overtime, $26,000, $26,250 in overtime. That was something we just incurred. But that reduced it from 85,250 down to 78,459.41. Too much different, but that was a reduction. And then the last one was the entrance redesign. And when we put that through the same filter of the original bid items, we went down from 25,113 down to 18,769.71. So all 3 change orders went down by different amounts, just to not have to rebid.
Very good.
So a lot of that is the cooperation of the contractors.
Very good. Thank you, Rob.
Yeah, I talked to Suzanne just before I left here. I talked to her at 3 o'clock today. She said she was confident we can approve these and she'll get them all blessed by DNR tomorrow. Putting the spillway for the Battle Creek, that extra riprap he's putting down there, making sure that's in the drawings so DNR sees that, and uploading that tomorrow too. So that's all tied off. And then she said we could let him start on the truck.
Very good.
Nice.
Can you get it done by the 4th of July?
2026.
That's why it's 26. We want to be able to discharge from our treatment plant. So I figured that we'll be all right till the 4th of July.
I'd like to make a motion.
Okay.
I'd like to approve change order. I'd like to make a motion to approve change orders 5, 6, and 7.
I'll second that.
Very good. Cal makes a motion, Aaron seconds it. Any further discussion, questions? Cal?
I'd just like to say, you know, I walk around down there is part of my routine, and I mean, I'm really impressed with all the work that they did down there. The new manholes are working very well, and you know, the Lagoon B North and South are coming along. I think they were putting bentonite in Lagoon B North.
No, it's pretty much done except for a small area where we have dirt.
Right, and then you need to fill in the side there where you guys are coming in and out where it's not quite filled in yet.
Yeah, that's why
Right.
we that would probably part of the discussion today.
Mhm.
We just put out there, so.
Yeah, and then you're putting riprap down and you guys are done with that one, right?
Bulk of the heavy work is pretty much done. Yes, you know.
Yeah, and as long as we don't get any more precipitation, then B South, you can get to work on that pretty quick, right?
Well, there's guy mixing it all day, constantly just
Mhm.
running it day and day, so
Nice.
we'll get it tested possibly. So that,
Okay.
if we can get it to where it needs to be tomorrow, hopefully Thursday morning, we can get it tested and then definitely we don't need participation because you need to put a Benedict and cover it.
Right.
Before any lights.
Yeah, anyways, but I'd like to just call them out and say, I think they've been doing a great job. And that, I'm glad that we hired them. And even though they were the low bidder, I think we got the better end of the deal, so anyway.
We'll second that.
Appreciate it, thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Means a lot.
I will agree. I drive down there, not every day, but I drive down, you know, make my little tour around. You always see me when I'm out there. I try to take other people to show. I took Joan here last week, I think it was, and she was really impressed also. So it is, it's quite a project. It's really something. And I'd like to thank you all for doing.
Thank you, and I mean, I only met one of my guys here, but it's not me, it's my crew. Thanks, Daryl and you guys, that's, like I said, they're magic.
Magic, the magic men. All right. Thank you guys. All right, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Shannon? Thank you. Aye. Motion's carried. Thank you very much. That brings us to G.
So G is something that Aaron and I talked about, and my grant writer Freddie, he found this program through it's school roads paving grant, and so it would pay percentage. What was the? Do you remember what the match was?
It was 80-20.
80-20? Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds right. It was an 80-20, so it'll pay 80% of the cost. But the grant's due, let's just say July 9th. Actually, until the 14th, but there's a window of time there. We need to do a review on it. So it's $8,500. It will, for us to write that grant. It's the same kind of deal. It would count towards our match, but I don't know if we're ready for that. I mean, we've been putting out a lot in grant writing. But we just wanted to bring it to everyone's attention for discussion. If you want me to find out when the next round is, I can do that too.
I would love to know that. And where are we talking, just Fifth Street or Fifth and Vilas and Fourth or?
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing. It might be good to kind of figure out, now that you know this grant's out there and it exists, maybe start to think about what we would do, like where we would go with it. Kind of remember that we gotta match it with 20% money. So how much can we bite off? You can apply every year. I mean, these are.
Do you know the name of the grant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could we possibly work with the school district on this and see if they want to partner with us on getting this done?
That's a good idea.
So what I kind of threw together, yeah, so we have the work that needs to get done on Fifth. And this grant isn't just new construction, it's any repair or upgrades.
Right.
So that work we want to do on Fifth, that one could essentially be the update, that could fall under this. And then it would be down Villas to Fourth and then up. So we'd have an asphalt loop from highway to highway.
Correct.
And another thing that this would be something that Anthony would want to look at, but part of that, what I would like to see, if possible, is the way everybody, when they're lining up for pickup, they park along Villas. I don't know if you've noticed that, or down along Fifth. And what I'd like to see, if there's room, is staggered parallels along Villas parking spots, also to fall under this. So there'd be a little bit of engineering here, but that would radically improve not just the pickup and drop off, but snow removal would be easier. Because I know that's an animal for them guys to deal with, the snow removal down there. So, yeah.
So I can just read off some of the statistics and then we can print it out, give it to everyone later. It comes out every year in the spring. Applications are due to the department by July 15th. In the fall of each year, the Transportation Commission receives a list of ranked applicants for approval. This year they had, SDDOT had $600,000. Oh, maximum grant amount was $600,000. It's for towns of less than 5,000 in population. And then it's got to be submitted by local government, so it'd just be other towns like us, less than 5,000 people. The ranking is based on a variety of factors, including existing road condition, average daily traffic, and truck traffic location. If the project is to be combined with an infrastructure project such as water, sewer, and storm, and has other infrastructure funding available, such as community development block grant, state revolving fund, or consolidated water facility construction fund. The impact on businesses, etc. So keeping that in mind, it means that it seems like it's one of those where if you threw it into the mix with something else we're working on, you would raise your ranking so that you can get additional grant funding onto a project you want to do. Like if we had any water sewer project or storm, we could throw that in and they would pave the road as well. So maybe that's the thing to do, is to plan for the next round, but try to throw some budget at getting something a little closer to shovel ready.
Just, if we were just gonna put it in for just Fifth Street, from the school to Whitney, what is, give me an approximate cost. So,
To pave it,
yeah.
so how many feet is that? Is that a block?
When Mark came out, I think he measured 375 to do the, with recycle. 13 feet by 375 for, what was it, 27,000? For, to repair it.
7,000?
I think 20, no,
And that's no curb and gutter, right?
24,000. That's no curb and gutter or anything. They would just take out 13 feet of the sidewalk side, 375 on here.
Yeah, gravel shoulder.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I was gonna say something like 50, but maybe that would give us enough money for curb.
That's what, yeah, that's what recycled too.
Yeah.
Half of it.
Last time Simon, it was 100,000 to pave it 4-inch. Have the surface and get it ready and.
What's the width? 24?
Total?
What's the width? 24, 25?
Yeah.
Isn't it wider than that?
No, 24 road surface.
66 right away.
Right.
Yeah.
So that, then our match on,
Range 50 to 100, I would.
so if it's 100, our cost would be 20 on that.
And it's probably 20% more now.
Yeah, that's been a while
2
since
years
that
ago.
was, yeah,
Yeah.
I would guess that also. Joe?
I would be concerned with how many grants you've already written that you have.
Yeah.
You have the one for 10%, you have one for 20%. One, I mean, that doesn't necessarily all come to at the same time, but to figure your budget, you're gonna have to know when your completion date is expected and when those are gonna come due before you add more to it.
Yeah, we definitely can't do it this year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not possible, but we need it on our radar for next year. And hopefully we can put it together then. Aaron?
Now it is a streets project, so that would come out of streets budget, or we would do it from,
Yeah, that's all street.
so,
Street and storm if we had some, but.
yeah.
And so this is something we should put a little more discussion in also. Put that in the work session line, because then we will need also, to talk to the school and see if they're willing to do a little bit of that help too. Eric?
You want me to get quotes for, like, we could choose our contractor, right?
Yeah.
So you want me to go ahead and get quotes for the paving work, and then at least we have that to go on?
I wouldn't do anything major. If you want to call them and get a guesstimate of this wide, this long, what would it be this year, you know?
They all use Google Maps now, and they just
Yeah.
get on there and you tell them, oh, that wasn't.
If you want to find out just a quick quote, that would be fine.
It would be
But
nice.
you also tell them that this project will not be until next year.
So if we got a planning grant instead, they don't have it on this program. But if I went back to my, grant writer and said, I think we're not ready for this construction grant yet, but we might be ready for a planning grant. That would be like a tenth of the cost. It would pay for us to design it, develop it, figure out, get cost estimates, do all this stuff. Implement in preparation for this.
Good idea. Joe?
I know a lot of these grants, I don't know about this one, but I know a lot of them, when you're writing them, they request the engineer's plan and the cost. But this, then it all goes out to bid if it has anything to do with DOT. So you don't pick the contractor. DOT will. That's how it's been in the past. However, your engineer, has to come up with those costs before it's left for bid, basically. And then you're also subject to the overrides yourself, plus your 20%. So just something to keep in mind, but like I said, they're not all the same, so this might not be that way. That's how they've been in the past with sidewalks and different things we've done.
Thank you. All right, so we good on that one then, Anthony? We
Yep.
moving forward?
Yeah, I'll send this to Terry
Okay,
or not.
thank you. And do you have anything else?
I don't, engineer.
Okay. All right. So that brings us to planning and zoning. A, permit number 2025-13, replace roof on 800 Murray Street. That's just an FYI. B, permit 2025-14 digging permit, 360 Violets, parcel 9202. And the digging permit 2025-15, to remove dirt from Main Street lots and haul to the lagoon. So, on B, the digging permit on Violet Street.
Dean's, yeah.
Do you want me to bring this up on the computer or anything? Absolutely.
It should be that corner lot, correct? Yes. You can if you like. We don't have. This one has to be approved. Or denied, yes. The digger construction.
And he did get a contractor license.
Okay.
And as far as I know, they didn't move more than 100 cubic yards. Was this some sewer work I think she was doing over there? The house?
20 to 30 cubic yards. Yes. 0.1 acres. None. No traffic control needed, none of that. Okay, Deb.
What's this one? Is this the one across from the school on the corner?
Yeah.
Yes.
See, can I ask what you're digging for, or? I guess I don't quite understand.
I think she's having a little bit of sewer issue. That is, something we need to put in here because we need to know that too. On the permit page.
I make a motion to approve this, but with some more information as far as what she is going to do. So we need a motion. What is it?
Okay. You still want to make a motion?
Yeah, I make.
Okay. Donna makes a motion to approve with just getting a little bit more information on the,
Just some more information.
do I have a second?
What information do you want to put on it?
Well, it doesn't really say what she.
I'm pretty sure she was having some sewer issues. She's here, you know.
Um,
So there's nowhere on the permit then to put
Yeah.
that, right?
No, but we need to change that, don't we? Two. It's not on the corner. It's next door.
Yeah, that's what I
So,
was saying. It's on.
It's,
This one right here.
a little white bird.
It's a white house, yeah.
That doesn't show enough to.
Why don't you fly the drone over there and we'll look at it.
I would love to do that, yes. Yes, Dan.
Normally, a guy is getting permit with the engineer, he would review, as he's the one doing the permits, and if it's something with sewer, then they gotta fill out the sewer permit. If they're digging sewer, fixing sewer, what their contractor's doing, do they gotta go to the main or not, do they? Now, all that information should be allowed in written, it should be tabled until more information is clear, so you guys know exactly what they're digging for.
Yeah.
And you've heard nothing about this, Anthony? Nothing.
A65.
I asked you about if they needed the erosion.
Oh, soil
This-
erosion?
Yeah, what's
Yeah, I mean, soil erosion,
that, I guess that's how.
Check where.
without any kind of drawings or anything,
I know, that's.
sketch or something.
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it-
Truck number 2 and I could use
Yeah,
a couple weeks ago or something.
well, this was filled out.
Okay, all right. Aaron,
We didn't get a second, so we can let one die.
let that die.
And
Mhm.
I'd make a motion to table pending engineer review.
And information, digging or sewer permits if we need them or whatever, yes.
I mean, there's no sketch
No,
attached to
there's
this
nothing.
one. So.
Can I get a second?
Yep,
Second?
okay. Aaron makes a motion and Cal seconds it. Any further discussion?
So what's the next steps with these people? I mean, we're gonna ask them what they're doing or?
Yeah, they need a drawing. I mean, we gotta have some, and find out exactly what they're doing. I mean, are they,
There's no scope to the project.
yeah, so,
I think that's a good idea. They got a problem, I mean, work with them, right?
yeah, right, exactly. Aaron and Cal. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you. That brings us to May 2025-15, digging permit, remove dirt from Main Street lots and haul to the lagoon. Okay, so this is, Jerry Styles, this is your lot.
It's, the lot
Yeah.
belongs to Hermosa Area Growth and Development.
Oh,
And we had a meeting the other day and they came up that they need dirt. I heard about it. We had a meeting at our Hermosa Area Growth and Development meeting. And they voted to give me permission to work with the contractors to see if we can come to an agreement. Them getting dirt from there. It's really good quality dirt. There's no shale in it. The compaction is going to be good. And we have a draft. They just looked at it. I don't know if they have comments. We have a draft on it. Kind of the purpose is, I can kind of read the purpose here to you if that's okay.
yes, go for it.
Remove 2 feet of soil from the site, keeping the same current grade, and move the slope on the north side of the site, so the top of the slope will be 20 feet from the north side boundary. The new slope will be the same as the current slope. If there is more dirt than the contractor needs to remove from the site for the lagoon project, the remaining material will be stockpiled on the northeast of the end of the site. The toe of the pile will be at least 10 feet from the grass slope on the east side, and 10 feet from the bottom of the north slope on the side.
And Rob, this is what you think you need to complete your work. As far as
I
the,
think there will be sufficient amount of dirt to complete the work. We don't know exactly how much dirt we need, as, raising, the existing berms, existing dividing, and border berms of the lagoons. It might be a little tricky because it's just erosion. So I'm slightly concerned that once we put heavy equipment on those, that there might be some sagging and potential problems there. Also, both lagoons are, A and C are full of contents. So putting dirt down those berms, it's counterproductive because it will just mix with liquid that's in there. So I guess that's just discussion we might have to have. Do we just work with what we got and do the best we can? Do we need to reconstruct those to, to ensure that they don't fail? So that would affect the quantity of dirt that you would need to complete that job. But base case scenario, yes, there should be enough dirt. My quick calculations were that we'll get about 4,000 cubic yards from the bottom, from the lot by taking out 2 feet. We didn't take proper, well, actually any measurements, I think, of the elevated area and how much we'll gain, by doing that part. Now, obviously, there's an option here for us to just leave it on site. However, this is one of the conditions that Jerry is putting forward, that work would be done in exchange for dirt. So again, that's obviously, there's cost to it. That's something we would have to talk about. I intend to also, this is just prepared, this is just preliminary, so Jerry and I will also, I'm assuming, have some discussions to see what the best way to go at it. Because some of this will not, um, it's not on an existing bid as a bid item. So as Anthony already explained, the state is really giving us a hard time putting anything that's not an existing item. So we just have to figure out the way to deal with it. So there's a few conditions that Jerry put forward, and obviously we'll talk about it and we'll figure out what the best way to go at it. But obviously, the cost will be one of the items that we need to figure out how we can deal with it. Anthony, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, to piggyback on what he said about bid items. So if the town pays something, then we have to comply to this bid item. But if somebody pays him, then we don't. It's not the state's money. So if there's some way that could be leveraged
And I,
or crafted.
you know, again, that will be a discussion that we'll probably have to have with the landowner to see. Obviously, we in dirt, but there's more than one way to get dirt. And obviously for us right now, the critical, I guess I would say, would have to be cost sensitive. I think that's the understanding we have. And since there's extra work that we would have to perform to properly grade and bring that lot to the desired state as Jerry's requesting, we'll have to figure out the cost of it. And I guess we'll have to compare what if we were to just buy dirt, have it hauled in, and ultimately no headache, no hassle. So I think the best way would be to find a happy middle here where the town saves some money by working with Jerry, and then hopefully Jerry can offset some of these, if that's an option. I'm just putting it out there. Some of the cost, hypothetically, if he was to get that work done by independent contractor, what that cost would be. Let's say if we can cut that in half, then everybody's happy. That would be ideal situation, but there has to be some discussion.
And how long do you think these discussions will take? I mean, what are we talking? We need dirt soon.
I would say,
Okay.
Trying to finish the burn up and Roger.
maybe 3
Well,
3 to 5 minutes.
yes. So we, let's get like, that's like, carry on, but, so if you said it's 4,000 or 5,000 cubic yards, because it's the permits for 5.
Yeah,
So
so the 4,000 would be just scraping the bottom.
So is that a cut volume?
Cut 2 feet of that's right.
So cut volume, which our bid item says we could pay $4.92 for. So if you do the math, right? And you say that we could get for maybe 50%.
Yeah, well,
4,000.
that is already 50%, so that's not gonna really change there.
Well, so 4,000 cubic yards at $4.92.
That's
Would be
5,000.
19,680. 50% off would be like 10 grand.
Cubic yards.
Would be like 10 grand. If the town paid 10 grand.
It's roughly what, $5 per cubic, right?
Roughly.
So that's $5,000 for each 1,000 cubic yards. So that's 20,000.
Yeah.
So that's 20,000, and then transportation usually roughly you can probably have it delivered for about $10 per ton. Each cubic yard is about 1,400 ton. It's 1 to 1.4, so 1,000 cubic yards is about 1,400. ton. So, so to hold 4,000 cubic yards would be roughly about $60,000. So transportation is the key here. Now we're also talking about extra work to bring that site to, where Jerry wants it. He also, requested that, we put in, it's nothing major, but we put in a small road, driveway there. So that's obviously work and material. And other than that, everything else is, but like I said, those items are, it's just pure cost. There's really, we can try to work with our, hourly rate to just see how, just to compromise as much as possible. And then there's some items that are just raw cost. There's no way around it.
So I think then that I guess I don't feel comfortable with giving the permission yet because I don't think we have enough information yet. But we can definitely, you guys have a meeting, call us, we can have another meeting quick, we can get together and talk, whatever. Aaron?
Just for Anthony, the state, they won't care whether we're getting the dirt trucked in versus sourcing it elsewhere is one question.
No, they just want to know what bid item that is.
Yeah.
We need more.
And so now what would you say, something along the lines of, if we know what it would be to truck it in, essentially even just raw materials, would that be a reasonable high-end budget for this? Or was it 19,000 something?
Well, yeah, I mean, if it's a cut volume, it's more. So if it's a fill volume, it's $3.09. We're just talking about material getting filled in. So $3.09 a cubic yard.
And that is, if I can just, that is us being on site and excavating or backfilling
Okay,
on site at the lagoon.
right.
And, yeah, as I mentioned, we'll try to be as competitive as possible. So really, there's no room to work with these numbers. Now, bringing in dirt from the outside, well, first we have to buy it.
Mhm.
Then we have to, obviously get it in here. And then at that point, I'm not sure exactly how we would, that would be just a bill cost. So that would be at $3 or whatever, we'll probably deal with it at that. We'll make it work somehow. But the cost, the cost to get the dirt in, there's another project that we're looking at and landowner is looking to sell dirt for, I think, $6. And that's just dirt. And then again, transportation, you're looking $10 roughly per ton. And if we need roughly, let's say, optimistically 6,000 ton, well, that's $60,000 right there for transportation.
So how much time do you think you need to get this information? So we can, I'll make a motion to schedule a special meeting right now, so.
Well, yeah, because my question was if the town were able to call this 5,000 cubic yards fill volume and pay you $3.09, that's 15,450 we would add onto this bid item. And then they can approve this digging permit and get you that dirt. But if it's not sufficient or it's not gonna work, then you'll have to figure that out with the landlord.
Well,
I know that you need dirt, so.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, how do I put this?
Careful.
Well, we need dirt to finish this project. That's just reality. We didn't waste any dirt. We were very creative to get to this point. I feel like at this point it's really out of our hands. I will bend over backwards to work with you guys to find solution. But I don't know, and please correct me if I don't interpret this properly, but I'm not even 100% sure if it's my place to negotiate with Jerry. Um, Again, I'll be more than happy to bring anything to the table to find a solution, and obviously as economical as possible. And on our part, we'll do everything we can to save money, but I just can't magically create dirt.
Right, exactly. All right, I have 3 other questions here, Donna, or comments.
Well, how much, I mean, what do you think the ballpark figures that it's gonna cost the town?
That's a question for me.
Whoever wants.
Okay, okay.
I'm not picky, I just wanna know.
Yeah, no, well, like I say, cost to bring in dirt, you'll be roughly $15-16. Depends what kind of truck you can get in there. If you can get higher tonnage trucks, you can probably save a couple dollars. I'm not sure if they can get in there. So most likely we'll be looking like gravel, which were the 30-ton, 35-ton. Yeah, so they'll be $9-10 easy. If you buy material from them, then they'll give you a break on transportation a little bit, but just to hire somebody, I don't even know if, usually, I think for these trucks, you'll be looking, hourly rate. And I'll be impressed if you can find somebody to do it for $10 per ton. So like I say, for 6,000 ton, and that's minimum. So that's really minimum. You're really looking at,
So I think in order to have an answer that, to Donna's question, I had suggested that a survey be done. Because we need to know where we're at now versus where we're at, where our proposed surface is. The data that we had from the original topo, which was accurate, we put it into the state plane coordinates system, gave us an estimate that we had an excess of dirt, quite a lot of extra dirt. Why that's not panning out in the construction phase requires more data. So I need to know where we're at relative to that, what dirt's on site, how big are those berms relative to the proposed surface? And that would tell us the answer to your question about at least the quantity. And putting a dollar figure on it, he's
that's easy, yeah.
limited to the bid item, right? So then you would just take it and multiply it by this number here, and you'd have the dollar amount that he's required to stay within, otherwise it invalidates the bid. Now, that's why I suggested the survey to begin with, but the thought was, well, is 5,000 going to get you close? 5,000 cubic yards. If 5,000 cubic yards is going to get close, then see if you can get that in there, and then do the survey when you're closer to being done, because then you'd have to do it anyways. When you get closer to being done, it saves you survey costs. So that's where we were at with this and brought it for approval. The question was cost to the town. And us, like I said, we're hog-tied by, we can approve everything, as you saw. We can approve everything you want to approve, but then it goes to state and then they say, nope, it has to fall into these criteria, and we're hog-tied. So that's why we have to find a solution. So, or find a column that it fits in for us to be able to say, yeah, we could pay that, right?
Anthony, one thing that, we didn't obviously anticipate is calling in or out any material, except for what was part of the bid items, base course and brick. So obviously that was not part of the bid items because it was not part of the plan.
Right.
How do we get around them?
I need surface data. You know, that's a part of your stakeout survey budget.
Well, we gotta have it. I mean, we gotta have it.
Well, I mean, I guess the question is, why is it part of, coming out of our budget since, you know, ultimately we put forward a price based on, the calculations that were provided. So, I mean, I don't know exactly, that might not even be worth an argument, obviously, I mean, we would have to talk to the surveyor and see what his fee would be, so. But it's just, I guess that's something that, you know, that I think doesn't hurt to discuss is, how do we solve it? How can we fund it? If the state does not agree, because it's not original part of the original bid, which we didn't anticipate because there was supposed to be, just like Anthony said, there was supposed to be so much extra dirt.
Right.
Now survey is aware of it. And Anthony and I, we also had discussions about it pretty early in the project because it's just visually didn't seem like there'll be enough dirt. But we didn't want to really raise any flags because we still had a B which we had to build and excavate, and we're kind of hoping that maybe the missing dirt will come from there. And that wasn't the case. We even over excavated the B north side, because there is no dirt to bring it back to the desired grade, which you know was agreed by engineer, and I appreciate it. Thank you, because that was one of the magic things that kept this project going for last couple months. But again, ultimately, at the end of the day, I guess I have to ask the question, you know, where do my responsibility, you know, and the town responsibility, and how do we find that line and deal with it? And I just want to make sure everybody's sensitive to it. At this point, I'm just bringing it up, I'm not suggesting nothing. But obviously that's something that we have to keep in mind.
Jerry, you had your hand up a long time ago. Thank you for waiting.
Yes, a couple things you'd mentioned, the size of trucks that can get on the site up there. We had triple side dumps that came in. I think they hauled about 33 tons a piece. We bring them in through the east, and then they came out on the west. I didn't want them loaded going across the sidewalks. As far as most area growth and development, I think in our treasurer's report, it's public knowledge, it's about $200. So we don't have the money to pay some of it. I just heard that they needed dirt. One of our members who has built a lot of buildings just think that if we were down 2 more feet, it would make it a lot more accessible. And for some of the things that we're looking at coming into there, so I just wanted to make it out there that we had that dirt available. What we don't want to do is right now that site is pretty much contained. There's no erosion, there's no holes, there's no nothing. And that's kind of what, if we're gonna let someone take dirt off of it, we gotta make sure it looks the same when it gets done.
Yes.
And that's kind of the gist of all of our stuff. The gravel going through it, we might be able to get that. Might not be an issue. We can always see if we can get someone to donate the gravel and I can spread it, so.
Okay, all right.
I just wanted to comment, that's a very reasonable request, absolutely, I'm not putting it down. The concern about the trucks was more on the language side, getting in there.
Getting empty. Yeah.
Dan, you also had your hand up for a long time?
Thank you. I guess in my whole thing, like the last permit, and I appreciate your comment because that was a very listenable comment, that we don't have enough information and why every one of these permits should instantly go to the engineer so that he can figure out where we're at. He's been paid in the project already for the engineering, came up with the extra dirt. So where did the dirt go? Was it more that was used around the containment where the treatment plant is that got taken away from the project? Are the berms wider? Are the berms taller? Is the moisture affected it? I think that's what Anthony has got to do his survey so he can give you guys a better report. And then as far as removing this dirt, it's a great offer, but also there needs to be the information on there to provide the traffic control per the manual. The engineer should have that report on how the traffic control is going to come out with the other thing that's on 40. And then the hard route of where we're at on that positioning too. And then to bring the lot back where we don't have erosion into our right of ways, are they going to seed it? Are they going to affect the right of way? Are they going to, as what Mr. Stiles mentioned about the driveway, is it in our right of way? So do the engineers need to be looking at the right of way portions of it, of what we're affected in that side of it too, and calculate it all out. So I think there's a lot of numbers that need to come from our engineer to be able to effectively give the board the right numbers of where we're going before any numbers can be able to decide it.
Thank you, Dan. Joan?
Along with the permit, I think it would be helpful, to attach Jerry's narrative, which was excellent, by the way. Because should this go through or not go through, as you look back over the years, someone comes up and says, well, you had so-and-so haul dirt over there, why can't I? That narrative is what tells you why. You know, and all permits like that should come with their own narrative.
Okay, thank you. Jerry?
Yeah, they would, on the entrance and the exit, all that, it won't get out into the city right away. The only place they get into the city right away, and maybe when we come down 2 feet, we might, along that concrete berm, that might get maybe, I just up there and looking today and did some calculations, it might, we have, in order to keep the right of way level within there, we might have to go about a foot out into the right of way. As far as where you come in and out of the property, especially on the east end, right now, the culverts and everything around the property, the signs on the corner around the property, the road's built right up to the property line on the east side.
Thank you. Aaron, you've been waiting patiently also.
Oh, yeah. You mentioned about, you working directly with Jerry. Now so the property's owned by Hermosa area.
Mostly area growth and development.
Yeah, we got a contractor and we got do you guys, you wanna have a meeting? And we can sit down all together, the sewer committee and the three of you, and we can hash this out. So next time we bring it in front of the board, it's kind of all drawn out.
I mean, absolutely, yeah.
If you guys have time later this week, or what do you think, Kel?
Jerry?
Yes, I have a doctor's appointment at 8 o'clock and then I'm probably be back here by 9:30. I can meet anytime after that tomorrow. Thursday, I'm pretty much booked with appointments.
Yeah.
Tomorrow works for you?
Yeah.
Rob,
I'll have to
Anthony?
do it Friday.
Friday?
Yeah.
Friday good for you?
I won't be in town on Friday.
Anthony, does tomorrow work for you?
What time?
Anytime after 9:30? Is that what you said, Jerry?
Yes.
I can make that work. Move stuff around.
So what time works for you? Anthony?
10:30.
10:30? Aaron, does that work for you?
Yeah, you want me here? 10:30 tomorrow?
Sure.
Okay,
You're cut off tomorrow, you said?
I mean, I can swing in for a few minutes. Okay.
I'll try to take useful notes.
this would be, it'll be late notice for a quorum, but hanging anyway, just in case anything, I will try to be here also. And it's an emergency situation, so we're fine with the just getting it out there ASAP. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How you doing? Not so good.
It's not going away.
Okay, bummer. All right, so we'll work that at 10:30 tomorrow morning. And do we need to make, I guess maybe we should discuss this
Motion to
first.
table.
We might need a special meeting because if we're gonna have to make a motion. And, on that,
I'll make a motion to schedule a special meeting for Friday.
okay, did you have a comment on that? Anthony?
Yeah, so I'm just trying to figure, so what we'll come up with by tomorrow and determine if we can approve the digging permit, right?
Mhm.
But so like if our 5,000 cubic yards times the quantity in the bid isn't sufficient, and we need to go a different route, in other words, a survey, then we need to have a survey come out and survey the existing surface and then compare it to the proposed surface in the project and do a quantity like that, which takes time. How that survey is picked, we usually would do as-built at the end. That's in our contract. You know, but everything between when it starts and when it ends is considered construction stakeout. So whatever it is, we have one in there to do a survey of all the surfaces to see where we're at. So we can order that, but probably take me a week to figure out the quantity. So.
Rob?
Yeah, just in response to Anthony, I'm pretty confident that 5,000 can get us to where the lagoons would be operational. I think we might have to, and that's just actually a question for you, Anthony. If there is any potential for making the berms, the crown, not as wide. We're talking about existing, I'm not talking about the ones with new ones, because we built those already. But if I remember correctly, there's other 16 or 14 feet at the top. I'm sure remember 14. Especially I'm concerned about the one dividing A and C. Because that is water on both sides. And maybe if we can,
Do we have to do anything between A and C?
or just need to build it up, but it's a 3-to-1. So if
I would
you,
be all right with not doing that at all.
well, we still need to at least match the level of the new one, so you have.
Just right there, right on the east side.
So I mean, if that's something we can discuss, then I'm comfortable, I'm pretty sure 5,000 cubic yards. They'll.
Yeah, should make everything functional.
I believe so, so if you decide to go ahead with that decision, then we could proceed tomorrow, pretty much after meeting or whenever you have to do your stuff and I guess meeting but I mean, that would pretty much allow us to continue with the project. And like I say, I think our opinion is that would be sufficient amount of dirt. Compaction, I guess, that's something that would affect it, but if we can work with the width of those existing berms, then more likely than not, we'll be fine.
Yeah, internal width, A to C, that's existing. So a lot of that, the big reason that around the berms and the exterior of all the system needed to be raised is because it was below the flood elevation. So if the Battle Creek flooded, it would flood inside our berms. And that's bad. So that was the big reason for it to be all the way around. The new berms were just matched to that because we had the dirt, but, if the middle berms, the internal berms, the only thing there was the driving surface. So as long as we can turn, if we wanted to shrink the width in the middle there, that wouldn't make a difference. You're already going straight. Up to 12 feet or whatever you want to do for.
I mean, most likely, you wouldn't put anything bigger than a pickup truck on that. Right. The outside perimeter, that's a little bit different. You might have some emergency situation, you might have a truck tanker or something, right? So we'll have to keep that in mind, but, okay, so yeah, so in that case, I don't see really a reason right away to have a survey done, because at this point, we can, we have a pretty good idea how much we can put in the truck. We can just keep count of the trucks that we bring in, keep a record of it, and then we'll know exactly how much dirt we imported. Jerry obviously offered that any remaining dirt would stay on his property. Thank you for that. I guess if we disturb, one thing that we might have to discuss is cutting down the berm on the north side. Because if we get enough dirt out of the bottom,
That could be the last thing.
so.
It should be staged, take it down, and then if you don't have to do anything that slope, if you don't do anything.
Well, I'm just saying that is, obviously that's something that will be, that there's, and I guess we'll have to figure out if the funds available to cover that or not. And if there isn't, then maybe that's something that they would put out to a later time even, or.
Now thinking, the big thing is, take it down 2 feet, taking it down 2 feet, and then the slope on it, if you needed that dirt, that's just more dirt.
Okay,
So
that's.
but that, it does, no one else. You don't have to do that.
So we'll just kind of put it as a conditional.
Yeah. If you do anything to the slope, this is what it needs to look like.
Yeah, no, absolutely, I wouldn't just take bites out of it. Yeah, that was perfect.
And,
Jared,
yeah, one thing is a digging permit, the one hole will have to be submitted also, so.
It's usually what, 48 hours?
48 hours.
okay. Joan, now I seen your hand one time, I'm sorry.
No, Anthony answered your question.
Okay, thank you. Aaron,
So should we do a motion to table pending further information and
Just how does it get paid for? That's all. Like, we know the quantity seems to be almost there. The only way we can pay for it from the lagoon project is if it fits in bid items. We got $200 from Jerry's fund.
I was thinking, I'm not authority, I don't have authority to spend that.
Like a barricade.
Question is, what do we do with the rest?
so,
Can you fit it in the bid item somehow? You've been creative so far.
I don't even know where, I mean, let's, if you have time, maybe we can meet prior to meeting with everybody tomorrow, see, look at everything, see if there's any option. If you're open to that,
We can do that.
okay.
so we still want the meeting at 10:30 tomorrow. Okay.
No, we don't.
Where are we going?
We gonna have it?
Yeah.
We want to.
We don't want to have that meeting.
That would allow it potentially, if we can work it out by then, that would allow us to then. approve it.
Just approve it.
Okay.
So I would just basically, approve it tonight with the, contingency, thank you. That we get it all done in the meeting tomorrow.
I'll make that motion?
You'll make that motion? Thank you, Aaron, for making that motion. Very nice. All right, so
What's the
Aaron,
motion?
to approve the digging permit and the removal of the dirt from Main Street lots and haul to the lagoon with
the contingency that we get the actual details figured out tomorrow at our meeting.
I mean, should we just do the permit and whatever at the special meeting? Once we get everything figured out?
That's, Anthony, what do you think? I.
What's left to know is how much we're able to spend for it through our SRF loan that the contractor is willing to accept. And that has to all go to DANR, of course.
So that takes a while.
Now, the approval can happen.
Right.
He's done 2 change orders before, and so he takes some risk as well in that regard, if he moves on the.
Well, I think the
dirt.
problem here is we know we have to have the dirt.
Yeah.
There's
Not
no
there,
question
that's
here.
else, yeah.
It has to be done. And we're kind of on a time and, work for you that you need to do. So I think we have to approve it and we have to figure it out. That's my opinion. And we may need other motions, after DNR or whatever, but, we can fill those in, I think, afterwards. You all right with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So Jerry,
One other thing, like I mentioned, that, we're not gonna get down, where the roads meet, the travel, but along that, block area. So make sure we're covered 100% on that. We probably should do a working in the right of way permit at the same time, because we're gonna be into it. If we come down 2 feet, we'll be into it through the flood.
okay, thank
So I
you.
think that needs to be there too.
Okay, thank you.
That way it's covered.
Yep, good idea. Okay. Any other questions, comments? Cal?
I'm just saying, in order for me to be able to vote yes on this motion, I'd like to see the plan of what dirt they're gonna remove and the expected state of the lot afterwards. So I guess that'd be a site plan that's attached to the permit, and then also Jerry's narrative attached as well.
Okay. So we'll need all that information additionally to make it happen.
You want that
Aaron,
you
yeah.
want that in the motion?
Yep, go for it.
Okay. I'll start over with
Amended. So you're just gonna amend this, right?
All right.
Addition, adding.
With the addition of the site plan and the narrative.
That's the site plan and the narrative. with-
And the right of way permit.
Mhm.
We're gonna get the right of way permit. Amended by. So we're gonna still need last. Yeah, so we amended his motion. We still need a second. No, we need to have a second. We don't have.
Second to the amendment, I second the amendment.
So Aaron and Cal made the motion and then made the amendment to the motion, both first and second. On both. Okay, very good. Any further discussion on that? No. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Are you there, Shannon? Nothing that matters. Motion carried. You are there? Well, yeah, if he has it on music. John's working on it.
Oh, that's right.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Okay. Got that clear. All right. Are you leaving us now? No, you're fine. I'll see you in the morning.
What's that?
So we gotta let the first motion die then now.
We just amended it.
We amended it, so.
Right, but that's a second motion on top of that motion, so now we'll just have to let the first motion die. So just call for it, call for a vote of the first motion and then we let it
They
die.
need to be, both of them need to be aye.
So the aye.
Can't aye both of them because the second one amended the first one. So the amendment it is meant to supersede the original motion, so you can't vote aye on the original motion. You just have to vote,
Original.
let it die. Follow me?
Yeah. First call the maker of the motion, and then before a vote is taken,
Oh, okay.
that's my recollection.
So then it's not a separate, motion to amend?
Correct, it's the same. So,
Thank you, Rob.
see you, Rob. Yeah. You don't need to address particularly, distinctly.
All right.
Because we're amending.
I'll have to check that out, but all right. I'll run with that for now.
Okay, thank you.
It's not how I remember it, but we'll run with that.
Okay.
I'll defer to the legal expert here.
All right, so that one is completed for now. That brings us to D, resolution 05-2025.
And Neil said trustees want to pen that.
Pen that, okay, so we'll just make this one pending. Very good. That brings us down to claims.
Before you approve the claims, I just wanted to, so we had approved the Pennington County quote for 12,000. And the actual invoice came in at 13,802.87. But I just wanted to make sure we approve that additional amount of 766.61 before we approve the claim.
Okay, can I have a motion in that effect, please?
I'll make that motion.
Aaron makes that motion. Do I have a second? Donna seconds the motion. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay. Then for the claims.
I make a motion to pay the claims as stated.
Makes the motion. Do I have a second to that motion?
I'll second that.
Aaron seconds that. Thank you. Any discussions or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you. Janet?
Issues.
All right. That's all right. We're on claims, no, we've had claims, and on to the law enforcement. And we do have logs. A total of 44 calls.
Kind of magic. I'm really.
Yeah, seems it's, yeah,
These 40 people.
yeah. It almost every month is
Yeah.
surprising, isn't it?
As I mentioned before, I did see the sheriff's department driving around town. Somebody said there was something going on down east, but I don't know what it was, but they were setting radar up and they were kind of driving all over town all day.
Okay. Lots of extra patrols, full patrols, we won't be having them next month. Animal assist, animal assist, patrol. Hang-ups. Don't see any ambulance. Everybody was healthy this time? No problem. Shoplifting, that one's sad.
Extortion.
Extortion. Okay. Okay. All right.
That on the IRS. No.
Okay.
Good.
As far as law enforcement goes, that would be the B in law enforcement, the approval of hiring Eric alias part-time town marshal. He came and met a lot of people and visited, drove around a little bit, looked at housing, looked at the area. Him and his entire family, his wife and 2 children. And, went downstairs, looked at the law enforcement and the equipment that we have. And, it's a unanimous decision to hire him. We will need to get a contract. And are you guys working on that or?
We will be right now. Yeah.
And we'll have to have Kent, look at that contract after you get your draft done.
Yeah.
What was the date that he said they could start, Terry?
24th.
24th. Official starting date, the 24th of June.
And he has to go to his class in Pier.
Yep.
And that's
Hopefully in
if-
August.
Huh?
Hopefully in August. We still don't know if he got in there.
You don't know, yeah,
We don't know for sure that he's gonna be in that class. Right now, they don't have any room, but they're
yeah,
thinking something
right,
like
and it's in August, if not,
August
it'll
to
be-
November, and then if not, he'll start like the week. I think it's the week of Thanksgiving.
I think he'll be all right. I think he kind of will fit in with the town.
I thought the same thing. He's a nice young man.
Yeah.
He's used to rural areas and I think that's good. And he's already thinking ahead to training and, being of help at the school and I think it'll be a very good fit. So we'll need a motion for the approval of hiring him.
I make a motion that we approve the hiring of areas. No, it's Eric alias.
What a name.
Yeah, what a name for the part-time town marshal.
I would second that one.
Shannon?
I said it a second.
Oh, okay. She actually was in before you.
Oh.
Shannon second. All right, thank you. Any questions or comments? Yeah.
So last time we approved something regarding Mr. Alias, what technically did we approve then? We approved to offer him the job. And so we offered it to him and now he's accepted, right? So really, this is,
We now have a
we're,
wage to go with it.
what's that?
We now have a wage and a start date to go with it.
Right, okay. So this is just to finalize the hiring of
Sure.
him. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
My phone is dying. So I've got 10% left, so when it's gone, sorry. Okay? Maybe Terry can call you back then, okay?
Okay.
Okay,
That's good.
all right. So you're,
You can say you're 10%.
no, that's right,
Oh,
no. So your question got answered and you're good with that then, Cal?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, very good. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried, thank you. That brings us to legal. Mr. Kent,
I don't think I had anything.
you don't have anything?
Nothing, that comes to mind.
Okay, well, that's kind of a good thing. Not all legal things are good, so. That is nothing bad. Public Works. You got any updates, you guys? I talked to Chuck today and he's feeling a bit better and
To go.
so he's working when he can, of course, not in the seat today, but. The open work orders are in packet here, or they were here. Oh, okay. And those things are still pending. Hopefully Chuck will be feeling much better soon and can get to work on some of those. He has, I noticed a lot of the mowing's been done, or at least once, and that's good. Let's see, streets. Dan, anything? Aaron, anything?
I do have, so we approved that UPM. Should I make a motion to dismiss that? Because we're not gonna need it. What we got is gonna hold out.
I don't think
We still got about a half hour, so I won't need my.
We just
We
don't,
are
we approved it,
just
but we
won't-
don't,
Okay.
if we don't order it, we just
Yeah.
don't spend it.
Okay,
Okay. Well, that's good to know.
yeah,
Save a little more money, okay?
yeah, there's just not anything right now that's really worth doing that until
More work stuff.
more, yeah.
Okay.
And as far as when we want to hash that out and talk about, again, the work for repairs, now that's, maybe I should have mentioned it while Anthony was here. So we have a quote from Dakota to fix Fifth Street. But if we're gonna get this grant, we would roll that into that. Meanwhile, we do have North Second that they also quoted us for, and it was quoted independently. So I don't know if we want to put that on the near future agenda and see if we can at least get them out here to do North Second. And that would also give us an example of the work they do. That was about 6,000 for that. That would give us a hard example of the work they do. And I have found some people who've used them before. So they've built themselves a very good reputation.
Had that discussion on the work session.
So,
It's easier to cover.
yeah, because my thoughts are, whether, even if it's gonna be next year, I think that grant is probably one of the best things we can really do as far as streets. And I think I like the idea of putting that out there and then working backwards and, all right, so we got that on the horizon. But the rest of the stuff on the peripheral we'll take care now. Dan is still working on getting quotes and stuff together
Got it
for,
all together. It was just
Do
a
you?
matter of you guys wanting to look at it. And like I say, you don't chip seal them roads we talked about. You'll be doing more than just over here on the grants. If they aren't done this year, you're gonna lose them.
All right, we'll put that in the work session to discuss that further.
and open work orders, we got, water sewer, you didn't have them?
I don't know, I ran into Chuck too, and he said something about one of the booster pumps at the duplexes was leaking and rotting stuff out. It's the first I heard of it, so,
Today you ran into him?
yeah, I'll have to,
It's not even the duplex, it's up on the hill.
yeah, aren't those duplexes up there?
No,
It's a house up there.
Oh, is it? Oh, really?
so behind the fire department?
And they have them up there in the hill.
Wait a minute, so that's not even in town?
Huh?
It is in.
Yeah. It
Is
is.
it? Oh, it's across the highway then?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
I mean, what is it? Oh, that's good.
West, it's like West Main.
It's done with.
Huh. Well, he asked about booster pumps. We're up here, and I said, well, we're not doing anything with those right now, at least. Those are, and he said something about booster pumps going to the houses after I'd mentioned the duplexes.
It's.
So I thought that's what he was talking about.
The old ones.
Yeah.
It was what it is.
All right.
Changing to new style.
Other than that, I didn't talk to Chuck one or anything about any of that, so I might have to go wrangle him up.
Rainbow, yep. Anything we need to know, let us. All right. Yeah,
Remember, in the booster pumps, we're responsible for them.
what's that?
When they were put in, we were responsible for repair or any damage that occurred from them. Because they didn't want to get the 2-inch booster back up. So, allowed that to continue for the last 2-3 years and we'd have done that, it would have solved it. We wouldn't have to put the 9 or 11 individual ones in that we put in.
Yeah.
We're in liability of, responsibility of fixing them until that's taken care of, and then you've got to remove them.
When that's done, yeah. This one's just getting replaced for now. Okay, thank you.
With the new one, with the new sidewalk.
With the new, okay. Aaron?
And the only other thing left is the purchase crack sealer, just kind of because it's still kind of out there. I don't know if anybody's had a chance to think about it, or if we want to roll that into the whatever meeting will come after the work session.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as chip seal, it's taking out Fifth Street and taking out North Second. The only one left on the Simon's quote from crack for chip seal is Ferguson.
Okay.
And that's a $10,000 mobility for one road. So if we do want a chip seal, I can get a quote from Dakota for that as well, because they do that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So if you'd like me to do that so that that's available at that work session, I can. But that's the only road that would be at all considerable for crack chip seal until after all that other work is done. Otherwise, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll do that.
I can do that.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Dan?
On that chip seal, if you don't do second, that's the other one, you're gonna lose, even if they fix that shoulder, you've got to chip seal it all the way out. If you don't, you're gonna lose everything over that culvert, you're gonna lose everything on that corner, the way it's allocated now, and everything all the way up to Main Street. That's the other major one I said. If you're gonna let Fifth Street go and not do it until paving, then all you have to do is chip seal Ferguson and chip seal Second. We did the patch on Whitney and, Second, so that we could get by another year on that with chip seal and then work that in next year. But if you don't do another two, like I say, you're gonna have major problems.
Okay. Thank you, Dan.
I saw on one of the packets, they had like the streets that they were working on chip seal. And it looked like they were doing Whitney up to a certain point, and then they're stopping around the curve and you're picking it back up on Second Street. Because that's gonna be torn out and fixed in this grant, right, that Anthony's working on?
Oh, you're talking about the corner on Whitney.
Yeah.
That's a whole separate animal. Me and Anthony still have some talking to do about
But
that.
I mean, that doesn't make sense to put all that chip seal if it's gonna be torn.
Right. We've already scrapped Whitney as far as chip seal. It's just the Fifth Street by the school we're focused on. Second Street on the other side, North Second Street, and Ferguson is the only ones we were kind of still out for chip seal, and even that.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
That corner Anthony's gonna dig into, and Dan's got a proposal he's put together for it, and Anthony's gonna dig into it from an engineering side, so we make sure once it's done, it's never had to be dealt with again. It'll be done.
All right, thank you. That brings us to finance ops.
No monthly financials, we'll have those at the next meeting. Don't have any mail call. The only thing I have for department updates, I will be gone the rest of the week. I'm heading to Pier tomorrow for finance officer school. And I'll be there till Friday.
And Lynn, what was that?
I said, oh, fun, enjoy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yep. You're good. And Lindsay will be here.
Yes.
She had surgery and she will be back to work tomorrow. So that is good. All right, that brings us to old business. A, ordinance 91.10 complaints. Yes, sir.
Can we take a quick recess before we get into this?
Would you like to recess?
I would like a few minutes. We
Okay,
gotta go back.
let's take a 5-minute recess.
Do we need a
So-
motion for that?
No.
It's up to chair's discretion.
We don't need a motion. Why don't we hang up and I'll have, Jerry call you when we start back up, okay?
Can you make a motion?
You know, we don't
Me too.
Okay.
No, I had that right now.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Yeah, right.
She's still.
How it? Oh, I know, I smell that. A lot of people take an hour, very annoying and sad. Really?
Drinking.
Yeah.
Baking soda. It sounds horrible, but next time.
If it's school.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Baking soda is really, that does it right away. Person in, she's a reflex all over. You know, the feet. Everything.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they do.
So.
So they ever go well? Really? Who is like Laverne? I'd have to do it then it would be a fun. To do it every day. Well, it's all over here.
Yeah.
And he did the after.
Yeah. The kid.
17.5 was, I mean, butter, it's wonderful. You don't even make that, you know, I mean. My mom, she used to make butter.
Curd?
Huh?
Curd.
I don't know how many sessions that was for, but yeah, it's,
I finally beat.
yeah, it's, you know. It is, I mean, you might just sit there and do that, I mean, it's just itching, there's nothing you do, I have to jump out.
Reflexologists do. Talking about.
You want to steak? Yeah. Butter is good for sandwiches and sometimes. Oh, you're not, if you're interested in going to that. Oh, it's simple. Oh, good.
Yeah, she'll say that. This makes everything look better.
I stockpiled a whole bunch of butter last year that I.
Cold range, funny, so.
Oh, that's it.
Talking to himself.
I have a trip in my freezer. Great. Yeah, so I just thought everything comes from word, I should be milking her, I just do some. But she's got a pretty house on her. So I can still milk her, but I won't be crazy. It'll be really fun about it. You just buy that little gas. So we had budget.
Dancer?
So she had a little.
Yes.
So we said, we ate either, so a little journey. And then, we had twins. No, it doesn't have. Like, no. And I had to go out and run up to the house and toward it.
Yeah.
Well, the worst thing is. Stand up. It bring you out.
I bet.
That can be yogurt right now.
my granddaughter made a rhubarb pie and a rhubarb cake.
Oh, wow.
I make bananas before it's red.
Yummy.
Hello, okay. You're welcome.
It's something not, but he has no.
Hey, we're waiting for Aaron here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all right, you're here now. All right, break being over. We will move on to the ordinance, 91.10. Complaints. You guys had a work session while I was gone. I was on the phone, I think, for most of it, but that you just didn't hear quite well enough. And you had that ready, and Kent has made some additions here also.
Yeah, nothing substantive, well, it's more on the verbiage of it. Piggyback on some of the changes that Cal had sent me, his recommendations stuff. I incorporated all of his, and then there was just some areas where either I didn't think it made real sense, or just maybe is a little bit more appropriate when it comes to terminology, like wouldn't be the plaintiff, it'd be the plaintiff, things like that. And you just, you can read through it, kind of get an idea.
I have one question. How, I mean, if we're gonna take photographs, how are we gonna get these developed?
It's,
Come on, John, you can't be serious.
it was right under the computer.
Oh, so in other words, this town office's job to take the, take it off our phone and put it on.
We've had people do that before and they just email it to us.
You're gonna get a whole new line item to the film, you're gonna use so much.
We have to open our own 1 hour photo, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, some people are gonna ask you
And it's
that
part of this,
question.
that's why I was so.
Who asked you?
I said, somebody's gonna ask you that dumb question.
Well, I'm not gonna tell you what you should do to them if they do.
I don't know, I mean, some people are gonna say, well, how do I get in a photo, you know? There's a lot of people that are technology smart. I don't know. I can.
I'll tell you what, you need to get a picture developed of, something that you're complaining about, just let me know and I'll come help you out.
He's got the dark room.
Yep.
You got the dark room, huh?
Oh, we'll set one up down there. Till Eric gets here. Anyway.
Somebody's gonna ask it.
One thing I did, also,
Go ahead. No.
one thing I, on the second one, 91.03 enforcement authority. In providing some of the scope of services that the enforcement authority would do. One thing I didn't understand is about, it's, one of these 4 lines up at the end of it. It says may be required to ascertain compliance with ordinances of the town and obtaining legal counsel as a part of it. I didn't understand why that would be something we'd be have anything to do with as a town. It made no sense. Then the rest of it, I guess, is probably somewhat self-explanatory. And I guess I didn't know if there was something more specific that you wanted to make sure it included. I just kind of commented on what is there already.
So what do you have? You open that?
There. Well, change the ordinance, you have to move to.
Clear reading.
So, first reading.
We're not really set up for first reading, right?
I don't think so, no, no. So
So,
I would say it looks good. Cal, what do you think?
I mean, I think it's okay for now. I think Deb has a question or something.
Yeah.
I was just wondering why there isn't a copy in the agenda.
Because I just got them
Just
today.
got 'em. So,
That's true.
what do you got?
An extra one. I didn't want to see it. I didn't have to.
The only remaining question I'm not entirely sure where everybody else landed on it, so I just want to be sure, is between 9103 and 9104, it kind of looks like a duly authorized agent can essentially move through the whole process without necessarily consulting the rest of the board or another even member. So I'm just kind of wondering where everybody else landed
That's
on
the
that.
question I had here, and thanks for bringing that up, is I'm trying to follow that logic here, because typically, historically, the board makes a determination based on the evidence presented to proceed with an abatement action. That's quite honestly, that's how it should happen. You have the person who'll go and investigate the issue and then substantiate it or not, and come to the board saying, yeah, this exists at that place that we received a complaint about. The board says, looks like, yeah, that's definitely a violation, go ahead and proceed with abatement. That is a requirement, so.
Yeah, and this kind of the way it is they don't necessarily have to bring it to the rest of the board. An individual agent, authorized agent, from kind of how I'm seeing this, can go start to finish without really ever coming to the rest of the board.
Except the complaints required, or the notice is required to have a board member signature, isn't it?
but it's a different. I mean, you have to have it verified, I think, with two people. I don't, yeah. Verified, and I don't think one agent, well, unless it's not a board member. If we want to hire someone to do this, then.
If you look in 91.07, all notices will carry an original signature by at least one member of the town board of trustees. So if we change that to 2 signatures, then that'll get your 2-person buy-off from the board.
I'm okay with that. Yeah, and it doesn't have to necessarily be 2 board members. It can be an employee and a board member. So in other words, it could be one of the office staff. That's how it used to be. Wouldn't have to be now.
Okay, well, then we'd have to adjust that sentence to include a town office person as well,
An employee.
an employee, but I mean, that may be getting into murky waters there, just because we're directly elected by the public, and thusly the public has a recourse directly if they don't like what we do. Because it could be, I guess if it was one board member and one office staff, I mean, I think what you're trying to do is just trying to make sure that we can move quickly when we need to. I don't know if
But the individual
speak
who
to
has
that,
the,
Ken.
the individual who has the authority, I mean, presuming that this wouldn't be just somebody that's appointed each and every time they have to go, or even each and every month they have to go, that there's complaints to verify. So the procedure that I would envision would be that a written complaint sent to the town office gives it to the enforcement authority, that's duly appointed. They substantiate whether it's true or not, and then respond to, they would send a letter. Um, Well, this one says they would notify the complainant and the person that has the nuisance situation. Now, before it goes further, I think that's where, when they substantiate it, have the pictures and stuff, they bring it to the board, then the board says, you're good to go. So, but that would require the board action, whether it's one abatement or 10 abatements on a package. That way they can't also, not one board member's taking the heat for seemingly being a badass on somebody. That's how I would want to see it laid out, I think.
So you said the written complaint gets turned in and it goes to the town office and then either the authorized agent or a board member verifies the complaint.
Yeah.
That's what you said.
Yes, it's actually,
And then we notify the complainant that it has been received and reviewed.
yes, yes. And that's when, if you're going to take an action, and frankly, because on the agenda, there will appear abatement action like it has in the past. And it can be the address. So the abatement action, and that way you've given public notice, adequate public notice, anybody wants to literally attend the hearing at which their situation was addressed. You've met the public notice requirement. They've had an opportunity to appear, and the board being advised by the duly appointed enforcement authority, then makes a decision whether to wait it or not.
Okay. Dan?
And I think in that with that appointed agent, like Cal was saying, the board asked them basically, like when Joe was doing it and you were doing it. The board had to make a motion that Joe was allowed to be that agent and bring it up. Then in that authority, we had the spreadsheet. So it was kept for all of the abatements, the date of the abatement, when it was due for them to satisfy the abatement. Or wasn't satisfied, then that's when action was taken against it. And then also in the other positioning of it, on your long, tall, weed, noxious health, safety, and welfare situation, then that one could be acted on in 48 hours, and move forward. If so, with the agents, they found that it was an immediate situation and needed to be dealt with, and which is more grass, noxious weeds, that type of situation, so.
Yep.
Okay.
So if it's not clear, then probably just tweak it a little bit to make.
Tweak it a little bit if it's, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Aaron?
I'm kind of with Cal on, having like 2 board members because the office staff, thing, like we are directly accountable to people where it's the office staff getting them involved. And we have had issues in the past with our code folks who work in this office getting yelled at for things that, shooting the messenger situation isn't really fair to them. So I do like your idea of having that being 2 board members. As far as timeliness though, I don't see many situations where there wouldn't be at least 2 of us available.
Right.
For, even if it is an emergency, if you see something, hey, yeah, you got 4 others to call to get that second signature.
And the picture. And the picture.
Back up for the picture.
For that moment.
For the mug shot.
Yeah. Okay.
So Aaron, you're saying that the 2 members would identify and verify a complaint that comes in from a council person, just a citizen.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. I thought that would be the enforcement agent's job. Yeah.
Yeah, it's essentially a two-man, so both would have to, it could be if one person goes out there, takes the photos, and then brings it to another board member and says, hey, this is what's going on, and that could be, it's not necessarily they have to go out, but I think it is appropriate to make sure that there's at least two citing on every note, every complaint, so that's never gonna be like, oh, they just, like, that particular board member just doesn't like me. No, there's two board member signatures on there, so. Yeah, then are there two, or there three, or do they all not like you? I mean,
That's true. There's a function at every, by a particular individual at every stage. Office staff receives a complaint. They don't need to say squat, so thank you very much. We'll have our enforcement agent look into it. That's it. Do not engage, you know, but people like to get snotty, from what I hear. They can. So, and it's whether it's Hermosa or place else, not unique to here.
And I guess as far as the complaint goes, with the verification of the photograph, I guess you don't need two people.
Right, that's my point. And so, because it's the job of the enforcement agent to go out and look and say, oh my gosh, yeah, there's this, junk cars and standing water all over the place. Yeah, so that person writes the report, takes the pictures, presents it to the board, the full board. Well, there's no need for two board members to sign off. Well, we did that in the past, it was because I don't think we were taking abatement actions we were to the full board, I think. But it was a cumbersome way to do it, to have two agents. Then you had, two-person patrol going out there and checking on stuff. It's much more quick and efficient just to get it done. At least that person could check with, upon being notified that there's been a complaint, or, yeah, that's really what all that would really need. And just email because it's gotta be a written complaint.
Right.
It's another big thing. And that's the other thing, Aaron, that we did in the past that required the two was it could be a verbal or a written.
right, and we got rid of that, 'cause that's not,
And yes,
and
you don't have,
confidential, not anonymous. Because like it has on there, do you want us to notify you when we resolve the complaint with anonymous? Who am I gonna notify if you mark it anonymous for who complained about the confidential though, like if we have it in here, which I do believe this qualifies us to discuss it in executive if it says.
and if it's brought, it doesn't have to mean that John Smith had to sign off on the complaint. But if the detective complaint, handwritten, whatever, I don't care. And I would recommend they don't sign it because it's not that tough in the town and given its size to be able to verify that there's an issue regardless of who made the complaint. And then the enforcement officer writes a quick report and submits it to the board. The board says, yeah, it is, no, it's not, and votes.
Yeah.
The two signature deal was on the notifications, not on the complaint.
Okay.
So, and really that's just to try and catch any of the immediate situation where we need to when we need to do some actions within 48 hours. That's really meant to fix that situation, or at least add extra culpability to that situation. That's really was my intent by doing the two members on that for a regular complaint and doing regular notices that already go through the board.
Right.
I mean, it should be a non-issue to have two people after a board meeting sign it. And it says at least two, and everybody could sign it if we all agreed to it.
Cause that was the courtesy we went, we did this for City Attorney years ago. There we said, courtesy notice, one or two courtesy notices, if it wasn't handled, and that way people aren't paying for abatement that the town had it instrumented, without their own opportunity to clean it up.
Does Rapid City really have an abatement for lawns and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
I've seen some pretty
Right.
bad ones.
You can't keep up with it. You can't keep up with it. So, but they do, every community has nuisance ordinances, and they're very useful when it comes to things like junk cars, tires laying around that whole water, those kind of stuff.
Okay.
Scott?
So, overall, I like Kent's edits, but I think what I'd like to do is, um, make the change to do the 2 signatures for the notifications. And then also, look at the, flow chart that Kent stated earlier. And then make sure that that's captured in the ordinances. And then also, see if we have a section for the immediate action for, public health, safety, welfare due to, the tall grass and weeds and everything. I'm not sure that that's in there as like a breakout section, which it probably should be. So, if you don't mind, I'd like to continue looking at these and we can take this up at another meeting.
Okay. Sounds good.
Immediate action, motions like.
I don't think we need to go. No, this- Yep. Thank you, Cal.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Thank you, Cal.
Absolutely.
Sir.
all right. So we're doing the same with the abatement then also, correct? We'll wait for that.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, we had, yep.
Thank you. That brings us to new business. Approve the annual drinking water report.
It's included in the packet. There is a signature page that I have to email back. I did put it on the website when we just changed them to looking for the. I know we got this a little while back, but I was, inundated with other stuff. We haven't until July 1st.
You need a motion to accept it?
Yes, just sign it.
Yeah, the authorizing the.
Authorization for signing.
Under the sign it.
Okay. Jana makes the motion. And a second.
Second.
Cal seconds that. All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Want some water, Connie? Oh, you want a towel?
All right, that brings us to items from constituents. Any comments from the audience? Yes. You want Joe to go first? Okay.
Thank you, Sean. I just think you guys had a great meeting.
Thanks, Joe.
I will probably take 3 minutes. Do you want me at the podium or here?
It's quiet enough tonight. You're fine where you're at. Thank you for asking.
I would really like to have somebody explain to me how the billing process works on the water bills. So this last water bill says April 20th through May 21st. So what days are we being charged for? Like when it says the 20th is the service date, begin date, are we charged on that 20th? And then it's all the way through, are we charged for the 21st as well? The day that it's read? Or is the 21st the first day of the next billing cycle?
The ordinance says that it's supposed to be read on or about the 20th. So ideally, it's read on the 20th, and then we do the bills effective the 21st, which would be then.
Okay, because I went over on my 3,000 gallons and it was like maximum use, and I'm trying to figure out why I went over. Is that a decimal point problem? Or
No, it's not that. As a matter of fact, have you paid your bill yet?
No, I have not.
If you would like to come up and talk and get that changed, they'll modify that so that it's not, this particular month happened to be that the meters were not read right on the 20th. Yours were not read for about a week after that, as I recall.
So it was a 5-week bill.
So that one is a 5-week bill, but does, at any time there are issues like that, you can come up to the office and the office will modify that so that it's not that way.
So are the rest of the citizens that are paying a 5-week water bill gonna be notified? Because there's people, I mean, we've got a serious water meter problem. I've talked to a person that has 3 adults in their home, and I have a picture of their bill on my phone. They went through 100 gallons of water.
for 3 adults,
100, yeah.
100 gallons.
In how long?
In 5 weeks.
Only 100 gallons?
That's what it says. So,
So that
I don't know
means,
if they did 1,000 gallons, then there's 900 gallons missing, so I don't know how the water reports ever come out. Right.
Mhm.
So, and then I've got people that got bills for 7,000 gallons. So it's not fair to the citizens to not know that they're paying for a 5-week plus 4-day bill when it is strictly supposed to be a monthly bill.
notification, I think the notification is if they have a question, they can call up here at any time. If their bill is normally they're 3,000 or under and it isn't, they need to contact the office. And
Most people don't even look at it though, because it's an automatic out of their account. They don't look at their bill, is it a matter of how many dollars it costs over? No, I want 160 gallons over my usage.
Okay.
I don't know how that happened.
Well, now you know how it happened.
Now I know how it happened. But is next bill gonna say May 28th on it for the begin date?
No, it
Because you
won't.
didn't read it till the 27th.
No, it won't. It'll say the, whatever, 21st through the. They won't be individually done. Your neighborhood, our neighborhood, whatever, was the neighborhood that was incompleted on the meet, along with a few odds and ends.
I had talked to people in the trailer park, up North Fifth Street. They all saw Lon reading the meters on the 27th. Which, is Lon an employee of the city or is he on our liability insurance?
Yes.
He's on the city's liability insurance.
He is an employee. Was, anyway, with the planning and zoning, and he's on the volunteer list.
What is what? We just ran into a rattlesnake on Whitney Street the other day walking. So
I heard somebody said that.
what happens if he gets bit by a snake? Who's gonna call White Flight and who's gonna pay for that if he's not on our liability insurance? He's not getting the paycheck.
I have a question, Linda.
Yes.
Is it the meter reading, is that like a separate contract with you?
Yeah, no. It used to be contracted, now I'm a city employee, I just do it by the hour. And then Lon works underneath me when he does it. It
Well,
was,
that's what I'm thinking, if it was contracted, then you were the contractor and he'd be your stuff and you could have any stuff that you want if it's contracted. I guess I would think it's probably a good idea to add him to our volunteer list under our insurance.
he's been on it before, I guess if it needs to be done yearly, then he probably does need to be added to it.
I don't know if it's yearly, but I would just make sure that he is on it because he goes not just there, but down at the lagoon with the boat.
Oh, yes.
Snow removal, and I mean, he does all kinds of things just like Dan does. So I, think it would be a good idea just to have him on there. So it is covered and it covers that portion of it. But I'd also like to comment that, we're working on getting those meters or the program, however that works, where all those meter readings will come in automatically to the office on the set date, and we won't have this problem. Right now, I would say that we're just doing the best that we can, but we realize it's an issue, and we are trying to rectify it with these meters that will download, automatically to the office.
Right. Yeah, hopefully we'll get them. It's kind of one of those deals that's, I don't know, what is the latest cost estimate for that, 50,000? More than that?
I think we budgeted 85.
Oh, budgeted 85,000 for those meters. And,
The last one was like 60 on the last quote.
it will be awesome. It will be absolutely awesome for the office staff in particular, for that to be
For the
done.
citizens as well.
and for the citizens. So I don't know, it's a lot of money. A lot of money.
Well, I just wonder, had I not have brought it up, how was I supposed to know to bring this up here? You're apparently not gonna talk to the citizens about it. You're just gonna leave it up to them to figure out that they just got done paying a 5-week water bill.
Well, how do you do it with the bank? If the bank charges you an extra payment or whatever, do you call the bank or do they call you? I mean, it's partially a responsibility of the citizens. It's your bill, and if you have an issue with it, you need to contact the office.
Who's gonna contact when the bill says you read it on the 21st? They're not gonna think there's a problem. Now, if it said the 27th when you actually read it, then they're gonna be like, hey, I'm paying for 5 weeks of water here for a monthly bill.
So now we'll say that they can listen to the tape. They can talk to you. You can tell them. It can go around word of mouth, and anybody that has an issue can contact the office. I mean, the billing is.
They always in the past as well.
Aaron.
So it sounds like maybe one solution we could have is a standard procedure to adjust for date. Right? So whether it's red, it's 20 to 20, just something we can talk about. We can put together some ideas on that.
It can always be different due to the weather.
Mhm.
And I mean, there's just a lot of factors in.
That was a swampy weekend.
And that was a hard weekend too. Yes, absolutely. That was a weather related incident. Go ahead, Cal.
Should we, is there notifications on the bills that say if you have any issue, contact the office or anything like that? Like a little slip in with the bill or?
I know we have done in the past, but I guess we could have that.
Seems like that should be a good.
On the front of the bill, that's where we put like,
Yeah.
to remind them, people to mow their grass, that's what we put that on the front. And you can also print on the back.
I mean, is there a place we could put like that in a standard location? Or we can put it in there somewhere?
Yeah.
And then at least they'll be notified that way. The other thing I wanna ask too is people that don't get paper bills, how are they notified of things?
They get an email.
They do get an email? And where?
It only says your bill is.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Doesn't say how much you used, doesn't say when the meter was read.
Yeah. Well, and it
It
wouldn't,
just gives you a bottom line. Doesn't give you any of the information that your paper bill does. And when you go to the website, you don't get it there.
Yeah, and I've got a work order in to try to figure out why the PDF wasn't working. But people can call and there's a place on front desk you can go and check, say, you want a copy of the bill. If it's mailed.
A good program should have it there. You
Well,
shouldn't have to go to all that extra
But
trouble.
this is what we're dealing with. This is what we have.
I
This
mean,
is what we have to work with.
I shouldn't have to call you every month and say, how many gallons did I use? I know by this, I'm probably still under the minimum. However, it's more than last month. Well, maybe I missed the meeting last month, forgot it went up $12. I mean, there's just so many little things people don't remember that it is.
yeah.
You talked to what we can do.
Well, I think that maybe more people need to check that they want the paper copy of the bill. So I know I get mine.
Yeah, well,
So
I prefer to pay it online. I don't like writing 100 checks.
well, I pay online too, but I get the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aaron and I are gonna do a meeting. We'll come in and see what we got and see if we can figure out a solution for some of these issues here.
And talk with Terry, find out if there's a way we can smooth this out.
Yeah.
Water committee style.
There you go.
Okay. On the water committee, yes.
Well, it's just that I take pride in my yard, so I know I do water, but all my plants, I have receipts, I bought them like the 20th and the 24th. So that 160 gallons was watering into stuff after the fact, thinking I was starting in a building cycle.
Right.
But what about these families that have 3 and 4 kids and there's bathing and showering and watering the garden and doing dishes and doing laundry. I mean, I can't imagine what their water bills must have looked like. So if it's a automatic, they probably, don't even look. It comes out of the checkbook and they threw their bulkly dated water bill in the garbage.
I think that anyone who suddenly sees paying $112 and suddenly paid $140 is gonna ask why, regardless if they have a bill or don't. I mean, I would.
No.
If you have an extra check.
Well, if they're not checking, if they are on a budget,
It doesn't matter when it comes out of your checking account. Most people do look at their checking account.
Sure, anyway.
so.
Dan or Deb, did you have?
Yeah, thank you.
And for many of us, our amount stayed the same and we stayed under the minimum and we didn't have a problem, so for the ones that do, yeah, bring it forward. I mean, the extra work on the staff is crazy to try to figure it out. You had one that's come in and had a complaint, so to me, the others, if they have a circumstance, and just like I say, they're listening to tape, and they feel they have a discrepancy, fine, but Mindy, she was in that area too, and she's got 3 kids and does everything, and no problems. So like I say, I don't think I get the whole alarm.
This was a one-time situation. They've never been read that late before, never, ever, ever. And, as far as the exact date, it never has been exact. Never, ever has
No,
been
and
exact.
5902 ordinance says you read it on or about the 20th.
About 7 days later. Like I said, that was a situation that, has never happened before.
Well, you were out of town. You didn't even get home till the 23rd. So if you're gonna be out of town, if you have a backup,
It wasn't backup. It wasn't backup.
I did about
You did,
70, 80% of it.
85% probably. Mhm. On the, I don't think it was on the 20th, because I think that was one of those really major rain monsoon.
Yeah, it was just
Situation.
nice.
It was And so you can't, you just can't, when you're doing it physically. It just doesn't work that way, and that's why the ordinance says on or about.
So who read my meters? Who read Manny Street?
That would be long, the 7 days later, that's what I said.
Question.
Yes, Shanna.
I apologize because I don't know the new software, but it should have possibly a function like our old software did. It's a matter of the person doing the billing and putting in the readings, and you do your, report first before you're calculating them to see the usage report. And if the percentage higher or lower, and you kind of have to adjust those. But there's something in the billing where you prorate like 25% rather than 100, so that you're doing, 4 weeks instead of 5. And then the opposite on the next week, because you'd want that to be 4 weeks instead of 3 weeks on the next reading.
Well, that's a good point.
Knowing the software good enough, and it's new software, new staff.
New staff, new software.
Well, and they got read so late, we were kind of under pressure to get the bills out, because we got people that want to pay them right away, so, I mean, it was just kind of a snowball effect. We tried to look them over, but, I mean, it's 200 and some bills.
I as well, learning the software and, staff being there long enough to learn all that extra stuff.
And it takes time. The training takes time. And, that was something that Terry didn't ever do. That was Jill's. And she didn't train Terry. And so Terry's learning on her own and trying to train the new gal, Lindsay too. So it's a rough period that we're going through, but we're all gonna get through it. And
Well, maybe if you wanna put a notice, small notice in the paper, or put a notice on Facebook, notice on the back of the bill, you know, that last month's reading for 5 weeks. This caused you to go over the minimum, please notify the office. So you can make those adjustments.
Yes, thank you, Shannon. Deb,
That would be a fair way to.
Kathy?
Maybe what you could do, so it's not so much work for the office staff, is average the next 2 bills, and if you don't go over, then you don't have to pay for that overage instead of having to recalculate.
Well, averaging isn't easy either. And, we have had to do that in the past. And, but then it doesn't show you when there's breaks or leaks or problem areas. So, but yeah, I mean, they'll look into it. The guys.
We'll develop a brand new algorithm so that all the issues are taken care of.
Why, thank you, sir.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Literally gave us solutions.
Very good. Deb?
Quick question, that corner lot that belongs to the city,
Mm-hmm.
is the city mowing that? Or is the people who live in next door, are they mowing it?
Aaron?
I keep hearing that belongs to the city. That does not
That
belong
doesn't
to
belong
the
to the
city.
city.
Since when?
It never belonged to the city. It never,
Pull it up on here.
yeah. Oh, I don't have
Got it.
ownership. I can't tell ownership.
Can you get Beacon on it?
No, Brett belongs to Swing.
Open up Beacon. And then you tab Beacon.
Tearing down the trailer. I think it's supposedly we've got a count.
And we paid taxes. And we got the legal.
You got this? Picking it up.
Why did you take it off?
I didn't know if it was gonna be a login or what.
Is it right? That's literally all you do, man.
You don't need a login or anything, Zach?
I just did. See?
So like if you go.
Not like me.
So, we'll talk about this guy right
Yep,
here.
that guy right there.
So it looks like it's all one lot. And then I guess this is what, right away? All of this grass here and all of that up there, because it's not within a plat.
Yeah, it's right away. Cause it's on dry top, it actually is the extreme left side of the right.
You're on the wrong property.
Go this way.
That little strip.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, I was gonna say, is there on that? What the heck?
So you paid a tax fee for it 1 year. You
Yeah.
paid 2,000, but that just paid whatever taxes were due at that time.
Correct.
And then I don't know who's paid them
Well, it says
then, but.
Winger owns it now. Whoever that-
Yeah, Rob Swimmer. That's who owned it before.
Oh,
So they didn't transfer it.
So nothing, well, according to this, then that's who owns it. So if we own it, we gotta do something with that.
We paid the taxes on their behalf.
Well, we paid a tax lien, it just says tax lien redemption, $2,816.77. I can't find what years that was for.
I'm just gonna say, do you know what year that was?
It doesn't, I mean, all the paperwork, nothing.
4 or 5 years ago.
That,
Oh, it
yeah,
is.
this was in 22.
There was a step missing that would have transferred, as I understand, that would have transferred ownership.
Well, that's a lot of money for taxes on the trailer in that little lot.
I'd say several years worth of taxes.
Several years worth.
I don't know if it was taxes or if it was the city had tore the trailer down and cleaned it all up and then put lien on the property. I believe that is what that was for. Do you remember? Yeah, sure, you're right.
Special assessment on there.
Yes.
Correct. And so then it's been accruing all the way through on that, on monies on that $8,000 when Miller tore it down when we swingers. And then it came to the point where we, to catch it up, because that's when Mitch was working on it, and we paid taxes on it, to be able to get that caught up so that it didn't fall And, where we were going with Brett and Amber and the whole big mess we had there. And so we were trying to work out a deal so that we would get our $12,000 back after paying the taxes and the lien, which all the paperwork was through that whole file of Amber, Brett, us, them, and the tax ratio. So that's why then after 2 years, we can go back in and file title for that property since we have the taxes. Swingers didn't want anything to do with it and weren't going to pay any of that up because they'd have to pay the back assessment as well as the taxes. So that's why it was brought where it is, and we need to go to the county and do our final assessment on it, and then take the ownership and title, and then do what we were gonna do, and then we were gonna sell it back to Brett and Amber. But the town can keep it for parking, the town can keep it for public gardens that they want, they, whatever. But the paperwork has,
Think somebody else owns it
the
now.
paperwork needs to be followed up.
Yeah, no, yeah, they sold,
The house next door, they
Yeah.
sold.
Yeah. Well,
And they thought they
So
owned
they-
them all. I said,
And
"Well,
they
don't."
talk about that.
All right, we will try to get some more work done on that.
I mean, we can get all that, you know, and then turn around and say,
Maybe
see what we
something
want to do,
we could do for you.
like at cost
Yeah.
or something.
I went downstairs and found what I could.
It was a pretty thick file. Everything they've done on it, Mitch has done mega work.
still in items.
Yeah.
And you did not, weren't able to find a file that was the niche there, you know? Okay, we'll have to keep digging here.
Any more
Thank you.
citizens, items?
No,
Any more items from constituents?
no. All right. Everybody's done, thank you. Trustee input? Yeah.
It was a good meeting. And I appreciate everybody working together and getting this stuff done. And we'll just have to see what happens tomorrow to get this dirt situation figured out.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, we're having one of these happening right now, and it's gonna fall on us to fix it. So just keep that in mind that, you know, we hired them, both of them, to get this done at the specified price. And we already signed off on a bunch of other change orders that were necessary, but according to all the plans, we were supposed to have an excess of dirt. So, yeah, we just need to figure out what's going on. And in the meeting, I'm gonna try and make it, but if I don't make it, just make sure, after, if we do end up, however we get dirt over there, we're gonna have to have the survey done after that. But then if it's found that it wasn't built to spec and there's more dirt in areas that it shouldn't have, then we need to talk about what we're gonna do with that in that event, in that case. Right, and then so maybe, any action taken will have to take something like that into account. Just trying to cover our bases after the fact.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Donna? I'm scared. Aaron.
Well, first I just want to hope Chuck gets better soon.
Yes.
So we can torture him some more.
And he's not, yeah, like I said, it's his belt, his hand right now that he can't function with.
Yeah, other than that, hopefully we'll get some, yeah, I'm gonna put together some kind of proposal, economic development committee. And, historically, and, I was gonna mention that, oh, here's another one. Abatements, was actually recommended to me during that meeting by the state rep. Why not just, contract it out, the abatement stuff? That way
We have
it's
talked about that.
completely unbiased, completely no trustee to point fingers at, just This is our law. Deal with it.
Yep, we talked about that.
But, then, yeah, I guess that's it. Upward and onward.
Okay, Jana, trustee input?
Good meeting. Sorry I couldn't be there in person today.
Sorry you couldn't be here too. All right, my input is, we've talked about a work session, but we haven't actually scheduled one, so I would like to do that. Our next one then. We could have one on the 17th. If that would work for everybody, Tuesday night, 17th.
It was originally supposed to be a meeting, right? So we're just.
Yeah, we switched board meeting times, so that would be, everybody okay with that?
At what time specifically?
Oh, the time thing.
9 o'clock.
Yeah,
You didn't say 9 o'clock, did you?
She did.
Yeah, I said 5 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
Oh, did you say 5?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 9, really. How about 5:30?
5:30? That's an extra digit to remember.
I don't did not hear what you did.
5:30?
Come on, I think that's up. Now we went 5:30.
5:15.
5:55.
5:30. 5:30 on the 17th work session. Thank you.
Maybe let's go halfway.
Thank you. One thing we had, please forgive me. We never really thanked Dan for the cleanup day.
Oh.
And Dan, thank you so much for all your work on that. We really appreciate it. So thank you. And it went fairly well, not as much trash as usual, and, okay. All right, thank you. I also would like to say that I did go to the, Friday night, summer nights, whatever it's called, very nice. And thank you to Breezy and Ryan and everybody that had any input on that at all. It was very enjoyable, and first time you see me getting my meal, I have to tell you, I have never eaten Travis's barbecue before, and it was excellent, absolutely excellent.
Awesome.
Yep.
French bread was
And yeah, the French bread, and they couldn't keep up with it. I'm telling you, people kept coming back for more, and it was very good. The music was nice. Everybody was having a good time. The children love the bouncy houses and dancing. Oh, watching them kids dance is just so much fun. I just love it. But anyway, kudos to Breezy and Ryan, really, and everybody that came. I think the next one is the 11th of July. And so hopefully we can see everybody there and have a good time at that one too. I guess that's all I have. We'll work on all these things and hopefully things will be put together better by the next meeting. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
I would, we do not need an executive session tonight, or do we?
That sounds.
Yeah, we'll do it next time.
Next time. No executive session, thank you very much. And I would entertain a motion to adjourn at 8:49.
Motion made.
Motion's been made by Cal, seconded by
Second.
Aaron. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you very much. Thank you, Jana. Yes, Cal.
You didn't ask for a discussion, Linda.
I did not ask for any discussion. No, I did not. I may never again. No.